All right, very good evening and welcome to In Focus, and thank you for all the comments and opinions. We see them. Thank you so much for making us the #1 talk show on current affairs in Rwanda and probably in the region, and we appreciate that. Now, today's In Focus is a bit special because we are tackling a topic that is quite new on this show: football in Rwanda. Tonight, we are keenly examining the sports policies and practices in the Ministry of Sports and Culture, and as well as Rwanda's FA, FERWAFA. What have they done and what have they not done to make sure that we, as the fans of football in Rwanda, enjoy the game or walk out of the stadiums, crying a bit? This is the In Focus, and some of the comments have already started pouring in. The first one is, of course, the #1 fan of Mukura, Victory Sport, Olivier Nduhunjire, the Minister of State in the Ministry of in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in charge of East African Community. He says, when you see a declining football, you realize that we need to restart from scratch. We need to promote football in primary schools, and local administrations build infrastructure and encourage private companies to sponsor football teams, including by tax exemptions. Thank you so much. And of course, we have a couple of comments that have been coming through. When you look at that, I'm joined, of course, I'll be introducing the panel quite briefly in a few minutes. This is Richard Bishumba betting that Andrew Butera is going to be on the panel. Let's see in a moment. And of course, Jimmy Mulisa, there he goes. He spilled the beans. He just revealed that he's going to be on the show. But who doesn't want to have this legend on the show? Quite a number of comments here. The problem is in the management of our football. It's FERWAFA, according to local sports media. FERWAFA is being blamed here, and the people involved should be dealt with from scratch. They kill young kids' talent and dream for money. Interesting discussions. Now, to discuss this matter, I can't do it without the experts who have played it before and those who have been reporting about it on a regular basis. Let me introduce Eddie Sabiti, my fellow journalist here at Rwanda Television, and of course a very renowned sports analyst. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Pleasure's mine.
And you had a very long day today, and to accept to come on this show, it's a pleasure. Now, the legend himself, Jimmy Mulisa. He was part of the 2004 national team that went all the way to feature. It was actually the first national team to feature at the African Cup of Nations in 2004 as a striker. Jimmy Mulisa, and the current coach of APR and part of the training team of the coaches of the national team. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
You're good?
I'm good.
Very good.
Very good.
All right. And who else? This is the gentleman who featured at the World Cup 2011 as the under-17, part of the under-17 team. And he was the creator?
Yeah, the creator, the
maestro. Creator. That's the language in football. Andrew Butera, thank you so much for joining me tonight on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Now, let's start it off. I was supposed to be joined by officials from the Ministry of Sports, as well as from FERWAFA. But here are the conditions. FERWAFA says they are trying to hold an organized press conference to explain what went wrong with the national team, Amavubi. And now FERWAFA says we cannot come on the show unless the Minister of Sports is on the show. Quite an interesting development over there. But Sabiti, what do you make of this scenario? What do you make of this case? Is it that they don't want to come to... Do they feel like they have a lot to answer?
Definitely, they are they're held accountable, actually, for what happened and for what will happen, because today we are talking about the end of the road of our Amavubis, but football will remain there. We need our team to we need to revamp our team, but we need also to have some strategies to do that. And I think we are talking about FERWAFA as the governing body of our football. But the Ministry of Sport, actually, the the bosses, actually. They're the ones who decide what to do financially and maybe
policy-wise.
Policy-wise. They're the ones to be held accountable in terms of policy making and the direction that our national team actually take. They're the one to be held accountable for that. But it's quite unfortunate to hold this discussion without them, because there are many questions to be asked to them rather than to us. But as people who actually on a daily basis, on a regular basis, that are committed to what is going on in our football, we'll try our best maybe to see what should have been done, and maybe what to do to bring everyone on board. And then maybe we also have the public outside there, because they are the ones who are actually the very first supporters of our national team. And I think probably we have the chance to have one of the staff, the national team staff, the likes of Jimmy Morisa, who maybe as a technician, he has been there for quite long, and he has been there as a player, and he has been there as part of the staff. Let's wait and see what he will tell us, and maybe what the public outside there will tell us, and we shall maybe go deeper.
Jimmy, let me bring Jimmy into this. Jimmy, I don't want to, this is a disclaimer. I'm not asking you as part of the technical team of Amavubi, as the staff of FERWAFA. I'm asking you as a legend of football in this country. If the Ministry of Sports, and this should go out there clear, that I'm not asking you through your capacity as a member of the staff, but as an ex-player who is still passionate and who's still involved in football. When you hear these kind of back and forth statements, what comes into your mind as someone who loves football?
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you. Actually, it's a surprise. I mean, as you contacted me, you asked me to join you. I felt like I'm supposed to be here because I'm a passionate person about football. I've been involved in football for all my life. So hearing the cry of all our fans, I mean, it's the talk of the town. Our neighbors qualified, we didn't qualify. You asked me to come here, talk about it. I feel happy to be here, try to explain a little bit of my experience, maybe representing the ex-players. It's also, I mean, it's a pleasure.
And then we invite people who are concerned about the policies, the technical team, the finances, everything, to come. And one says, if this one doesn't come, I will not come. If this one, and then the other one says, we are not ready to speak about it. How do you receive this?
I mean, I think it's just like they're putting themselves in a situation whereby people were like, maybe there's a problem. Maybe there's a problem. Why? Because it's just discussing just how we can find ways to do better. Maybe we start planning now. Maybe where we went wrong. It's the time here we talk about it. I mean, they should have sent someone to be here. That's my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Andrew, I will not take you back in 2004, but I will start from 2011 when you first got involved in the national team to where we are right now. What is your impression of the national team, the football team?
The national team in general, or from the under-17 upwards, right?
Okay, from let's start from the senior national team.
The senior national team. Okay.
Because you're still part of it.
Yeah, my opinion on the national team, because as a player, of course, you cannot talk about the national team, the senior. It is like a finished product. You have to go and dig deep down, right from the grassroots.
Yeah.
I was part of it then as the under-17, you know. But I think the problems to address, they come right from the grassroots. Yeah? And as a player who was part of the Under-17 World Cup, it was an achievement then, you know, but there are some things to achieve after that. So it was like, as the campaign was to Jane Mexique, but afterwards, there are some things to do.
Sure.
So I'm also happy, and it's a pleasure to address some of the things that I think, to be part of the discussion.
Jimmy, what do you think are the issues that we're having? Do you think the issues stem right from the grassroots, or there's somewhere? Because these are the, you know, if you look at Andrew's generation and, you know, Emily Basenja and everything, the team is still there. If you look at the performances, we'll probably have some videos of the team that, you know, how we perform during these qualifiers. If you look at the way we perform and the results, where do you find the problem of the national team? The senior team, yeah.
Actually, it's a sensitive topic. I mean, right now, see, all our fans are disappointed. To me, I feel someone who is on the technical team and someone who has been there for a while, I feel our fans, they deserve more. They deserve more because if you see our population, I think half of the population, they love football. The way they follow the Premier League.
Yeah.
And now we'll be watching the Nations Cup, AFCON.
Yeah.
Our neighbors have qualified.
Yeah.
So you just imagine, like, your neighbors have qualified and you're just there watching them.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But I have a few points maybe. As someone who has been there for a long time, football is easy. Football is easy, but we make it difficult. It's easy to manage football, but we, the people, make it difficult. If you see...
We, the FERWAFA, we, the Minister of Sports?
No, I'm not specifying. I'm just saying anyone who is involved.
In management of football.
Yeah. Because it's all about preparing. Like you said, it was all about Tujemuri, Mexico.
Yeah.
But we didn't think about...
What next?
What next? If you see their generation, it's still there. They're still hanging on. Some of them are retired.
Yeah.
But what happened? Then you come back to the 2004. We were on the peak. We reached the AFCON.
Yes.
Then what happened?
In 2016, we played very well. We defeated here. I was watching the games in the stadium in Chan. Our team did perfectly well. We defeated Ivory Coast. We defeated Gabon. I mean, if you look at the loss that we against DRC, it wasn't, that kind of loss where you're like completely beaten off. They really played some good football. They scored a goal, and then they hit the goalpost, the crossbar. I mean, the team is there. The talent is there. But Sabiti, you've been following football for quite some time in Rwanda. Where is this problem? Because the talent is there. When guys are watching, playing football, you see some quite an amazing talent.
Yeah, I think we've had a number of examples, especially the 2011 generation, the generation of Andrew and Baisenji and the other great players that we had. I think from 2004 to 2011, there was a gap. There is, with the 2011 generation, we had a kind of hope that people had back then to see, and you could even see the attendance of the public at the national stadium while the national team was playing. And the quality of football that we have seen, the amount of energy, the financially, the knowledge, the preparation, how the ministry the FA was involved into, making sure that these young players get the everything that they needed to perform well during the CHAN.
Yeah.
Of course, Rwanda was the hosts,
yeah.
and we had the
home advantage.
The home advantage.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the home advantage played such a big role.
No.
But there was more of a commitment
Yeah.
from everyone, like what Jimmy was saying. Everyone. When I'm talking about everyone, I'm talking about the ministry, the FA, and the players themselves. They knew that there is something that is going to happen.
Yeah.
They are being at the that particular moment was a defining moment for their career. Yes, of course, some of them were already playing in in our Premier League.
Yeah.
Of course, they knew what it meant to be a national
Yeah.
a national team player,
Yeah.
and even the staff that we had, the management of players, we had someone who was brought from France, Tardy, Richard Tardy. One of I think that was my very first time to see a technician from abroad, even the technical staff, the local technical staff, everyone, all the technicians were really they were okay with the level and the kind of trainings and
preparation
that
was going on.
I didn't see, and I haven't ever seen people being really okay with one person, because we know, Jimmy knows very well, even being appointed among the national team staff, he knows very well that there are people outside there who think that he should not be there. And that's one of the biggest issues that we have. People who sit somewhere and think that they can have, like, people from, I don't know from where, we have our people who are very well.
So basically what you're saying, that sometimes the federation...
We really missed something huge at that particular time, because if you see even the national team back in 2004, there we had, Jimmy knows very well that so much was invested. Into players, even getting extra forces from outside. We had people who came at the very last moment to make sure that when we go in Tunisia, we really perform well. Even during
players
that
or technical, or people on the technical team?
No, I'm talking about players, because there are some players that
who were summoned, Rwandans who were summoned from
from outside. But the aim was to come up with a
very strong team.
A strong team, and of course, tremendous result in terms of course, being qualified for AFCON, and of course, being at least sure that we go through the group stages. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but I think
but
the
performance was nice. The performance was nice. Now, that brings me to my next question. You've talked about 2004 and 2011, how the preparations were really, really up. Now, for me, I watched closely the 2006 CHAN, and then I'm wondering, are we going to keep waiting for a time we'll be playing host to some of the regional tournaments for us to show our ability that we know football? Because in 2011, we played host to African under-17, and we ended up being the second and qualifying for World Cup. In 2016, we hosted CHAN, and that's how we participated. And we showed the world that we can play football. We can defeat Ivory Coast, we can defeat Gabon, we can go all the way to quarterfinals. Are we going to keep waiting for those moments for when we will be hosting to show the world that we know football, or to show the public that we love football? Or there's something that actually needs to change?
To jump in maybe to it's always good to give examples.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Chan generation.
Yeah.
We had a good team, and you
Very
see
good.
how we performed.
Yeah.
But after that, you see those group of players.
Yeah.
I mean, that first 11, are they still playing together? You see, there's kind of ups and changes
Yeah.
happening.
And this is just 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good team, and you see, they had even picked the momentum. You see, playing against DRC, we lost, but we played well. So, was there any plan to give them more games, to keep them together? That's a question. I can give an example.
Yes.
If you see France,
Yeah.
this group, I think they've been together for almost, I don't know how many years, maybe 3. It's
Well,
the
this is the team that played 2016
Euro.
at their home ground. They lost the finals to Portugal, but it
You
was
see,
a
there's
solid-
only like 3 changes.
Yes.
But it's same group of players. That's also a good thing to, I mean, it helps the teamwork, whereby these players know each other, and I know him, I know where to pass the ball. It's also, I would say, maybe can look into that. Why is it our team keeps on changing?
And the managers keep on changing. Now, talking about the managers, we've had about 3 managers since 2016, and we had McKinstry, we had Hay, and now we have Mashami. How much does a coach mean to a player?
Yeah,
Especially changing coaches.
Me, I don't see that as a problem because it has a root cause as well. Because I'll still go back to the roots. For if we look at examples like Germany, okay, I'm not comparing ourselves to Germany,
Yes.
but these are bigger nations in football.
But they've started from somewhere.
Yeah, but they put in the hard work.
Yeah.
If we see right from foundation, build up, maintenance, to the finish line, which is the national team that we are talking about, there's hard work in that process. And here we're talking about a player, as a player, you know. I'm a player who, for example, I was 19. Yeah, I was actually 18 years, if I'm not mistaken. But I had a CV that was bigger than me. I mean, I had 24 caps in the national team, the senior team, but I was just 19. That kind of CV, if you're in West Africa, it is just enough for you to be like Sadio Mane. You understand? So there's this problem of premature summoning.
Yeah.
I'm from under 17, immediately to the national team. There's this feeling of like,
It's too early for you?
is that too early for me?
Yeah.
Right? You understand? So
you think your generation was exposed to senior games way too early?
I think also that's a bigger problem. As I told you, my CV at 19 years was bigger than me. That was enough for me to play professional football.
Yeah.
You know? But I couldn't. Why?
Why?
That's the problem that I'm speaking about. There is premature summoning in the national team.
So you
which
get
needs a
exposed
process.
to many games at an early age, and you get exhausted, and you cannot deliver at the age of
Not
25.
saying exhaust.
I don't really think that's the issue. It's not about being exhausted at an early age. It's about, these were young players.
Yeah.
They needed to be taken care of because it's like we had gold in our hands,
Yes.
but we did not know how to benefit, to get,
wash it very well,
exactly,
and make it as clean as possible.
Exactly, that's the point. And these, as I said, they were very young. They needed a very strong management and see how
And follow up.
and follow up, of
Yeah.
course, and when I'm talking about the management, the technical management, but as well as those, in quotes, agent people who help actually young players to, to grow in their career and maybe help them to to choose exactly what is the right choice for the young player, maybe which team or which country can help a player to grow and maybe to wait the right moment, maybe to blossom and become a big player. Yeah. I think the country owes something to these young players, and maybe Jimmy can maybe talk about or can elaborate more on this. Technically, we owe something to these players because the consequences, one of the consequences that we are facing today, talking about the national team, and of course the result, the catastrophic result that we have or we had recently, it's more of the management of the players that we have. I really say and repeat that we have talent. We have talented players, but the big issue is the management, because these Buteras, Emery and others, they are Rwandans. We did not go to get them. Maybe Andrew was playing in Uganda back then, and before even he was...
but you see, this is an example of... I'll give an example of Burundi. Players will always come when you need them, and when you need them, they will always be there. Look at the country like Burundi. There's Berahino from the Premier League playing for Stoke City, and there is Gael Bigirimana, who formerly at Newcastle. Yeah. These are the people you never expected to come and play for Burundi.
The motivation.
But there's a motivation. Are we lacking motivation in the national team?
Maybe to try and elaborate a bit. National teams, let's give examples. The German team, they can feel like a third team and it still competes.
Yeah.
Go to Uganda, nearby. I don't know how many players they have. Almost 100 players, good players. Go to Kenya. So many players.
Yeah.
Even when I was still playing, they could summon players. It was very competitive. You just look behind, you say, oh, I'm lucky I survived this. Because you know someone has been dropped, he's good. Yeah. What does it mean? There's competition.
Yeah.
At the moment, you see, you have like 20, 25 players, same players. You even reach a point you're like, oh, maybe this guy performed well today. Let's bring him in the national team. I think that's what happened with that's what Butera is talking about. Because our capacity, we're supposed to be having like 100 players.
Yeah.
Very competitive on the national team. But at the moment, you find the same players, some of them are comfortable.
They know that they are assured of their position.
They're sure. Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's also doesn't help.
But these are the people who spend a year without playing for each other. Like we had an incident in 2017, 2018, the entire 2018. There was no competitive game for the national team.
Of course, that actually one of the big issues and the consequences that I was talking about. Maybe Jimmy can tell us how many friendlies or friendly games that the national team played during this campaign to get ready our players. How many friendly games?
I don't remember any.
Actually, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Exactly.
Because if you're preparing as a coach, you need to play a friendly game to see those mistakes.
Yes.
Maybe you try to see how ready your players are. What system you want to field.
Yeah.
You want to play against Guinea. You just look at the same nation with the same style.
Yeah.
Let's go there, spend a week, that teamwork with the players, just trying to talk, to know each other. How are we going to play against this team?
Sure.
It's really vital. But
And Jimmy, I have comments. I need to go for these comments. I know Twitter must be burning right now with a lot of comments. Allow me to go through some of them. 38 new notifications, quite an interesting one. 39. Blame game. Like, Jimmy, this is Jeff. Let me read through. I can remind you, keep your comments coming through. We still have these gentlemen on the panel to discuss football in Rwanda and what we can do to improve football. Like Jimmy Murisa mentioned in his opening remarks, football is easy, but only if you have a clear policy framework under which it is run. In Rwanda, we prepare once we have a tournament to participate in. Quite ridiculous, and this is across all sports, not only in football. Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming through. Why can't FEROFA explain their side of story if Minispoc officials are not available? This is what I thought was right for them to do, but unfortunately, they were not ready to come on the show. Live on Omunu, live on our TV. Thank you so much for coming through. So we have a comment, a statement from FERWAFA, Rwanda's FA. So for any issues related to Amavubi, both parties, FERWAFA and Minispoc, should be considered for any sort of discussion to avoid any issues related to misrepresentation. Interesting. FERWAFA was contacted to be part of In Focus Amavubi show. FERWAFA confirmed its availability upon reservation that Minispoc should be invited. Let me actually zoom this quite so that you are able to see this. FERWAFA was contacted to be part of the In Focus Amavubi show. FERWAFA confirmed its availability upon reservation that Minispoc should be invited on the show as well, because both FERWAFA and Minispoc are involved in the management of Amavubi, and they've just tagged me and tagged Austin Powers. This is the Rwanda's FA stand on this discussion of Amavubi. Thank God that they mentioned it so that people don't get to think that I was probably not or lying. In Focus, guys, we are missing the flavor on this show. The preps are substandard. Look at this promotion picture. We can do better. Thank you so much, Magnifique, for that comment. We'll try to improve on that. I think we have a good team, but let me see this. Muyobohe Emabre, I think we have a good team, but we still need winning spirit. And winning spirit can only be, like the coach said over there, winning spirit can only come when you've practiced, when you've been prepared enough, and when you've prepared with other opponents. Ethan Tashobia asked FERWAFA officials to join the In Focus panel and explain the poor show of the national team, and they refused. There you go. Thanks, Austin. Butera Frank, Ethan Tashobia, we are looking at the results, but that's what we deserve. I think we are talking justice just because our neighbors have qualified. What if they haven't? Where do we place ourselves? Do we set performance targets and evaluation at the end of the day? This is a discussion that has happened. I don't think we are talking about this because our neighbors have qualified. I don't think we are talking about Amavubi because, we are the only country in the East African region, of course, apart from us and South Sudan that have stayed here. We're talking about this because it's something that has been talked about over and over, and nothing has changed, right?
Of course. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong to be to feel ashamed, because we've been there in 2004,
yeah.
And we were a good example. The same debate happened in our neighboring countries. How did Rwanda qualify? What did we miss? I think the debate was going on whether in Uganda, especially Uganda, because they were our direct opponent.
They were part of the group.
It was a failure for Uganda to see that happening. And same case in Burundi and some other neighboring countries. Maybe that was not the case in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But why is it an issue, a problem to discuss about this today? Because when I've been, the following day after the end of the road, of course, we had an official statement from the CAF, African Confederation. I mean the governing body on the continental level.
CAF.
We had the representation by regions.
Yeah.
That was actually the very first communication they released, qualification by, countries that were now to participate in June, the next AFCON. They were like, we have the East Africa, we have Central Africa, the Maghreb, or the northern part of Africa, the Southern Africa. And discussions were going on. How did Burundi qualify for the very first time? And you cannot talk about Burundi, Uganda, and the other countries in the region without talking about Rwanda. Rwanda is performing in so many areas.
Yes.
Rwanda is one of the...
It's a success story.
It's a flagship in terms of many sectors as far as the development is concerned. Yeah. And why things are going wrong in football. And our neighboring in sport...
Apart from cycling.
Of course.
Cycling we're doing fine.
We're doing fine, but we also need maybe to get better results than what happened recently. And I don't think there is nothing wrong about talking about this and trying to see who's to be held accountable. But this is not a blame game. People should understand. We need to discuss. We need to have such debate, not only on TV, but outside there. We have technicians and everywhere. Why people outside there can still discuss about this, but when it comes to discuss this on TV, it becomes a problem. It's been a week or more than since Rwanda, we've been out, but I'm told that the national coach is yet to submit the report of what happened.
Let me cut you short.
And I don't think someone said something very important.
Yeah.
In football or in sport in general, the good thing, no need for theories, no need for...
They were talking about
so
policies
many
and everything. But we've seen policies before. Policies have been there, but results still come the same. Let me ask the technical team to show us the video of Rwanda's performance in Ivory Coast to show you what we actually mean when we say that there is talent. We lost the game 3-0, but if you look at the trials, there were several attempts over there. You look at that. Of course, that's a goal from Baidi. And actually, this should probably bring me to the next question. Why didn't we summon Olivier Kwizera? Because the goalkeeper from South Africa, is he not involved in club football?
I think Olivier, at the moment, is not playing. And the national team, you need players who are, at least here, has played 90 minutes. Players who are ready. That's the national team. It's all about performance. Anyone who is ready, been playing in his club, I think you're summoned. But if you're not played a couple of games, difficult to be summoned.
Did we deserve to lose a game against Andrew? Probably in G as well. Let me bring him in. Did we deserve to lose a game against Central Africa here in Rwanda?
Probably not, because when you look at the performance that was displayed, we deserved it. We deserved, but it was unfortunate, and I think that's part of the game, but we deserve to win.
Sure. With all the issues that we're putting on the table, let's look at this group. do you think would have made it through, probably finished the group as without these 2 points out of the 18 possible points in the group stages to qualify for AFCON? Did we deserve probably 8 points?
Actually, it comes back to preparation.
Yeah.
This is what we are talking about. We missed out. So we should start preparing now if we want to qualify. It's all about preparing. I don't want to come back why we would have qualified. It's all about preparing. Just give yourself a target. You're like, no, next time we want to go to the AFCON. So how are we going to prepare?
Yes?
There is something very important that we need maybe to talk about. Today, the good thing about teams on the African continent, the difference between the level of teams is getting narrow nowadays. It's no longer the time of having one team or one country reigning on the continent. It's always nowadays it's more difficult to have countries like Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, or Senegal going and being sure to grab all the 3 points from Madagascar or some other small in quote countries.
Yeah.
Today the difference is quite narrow, and I think the home advantage has always played a huge role in terms of the result that teams get. Why is this end of the road for us is more hurtful or very worrying actually? It's because we could not even get 3 points. 3 points because I think the game versus Guinea in Kigali, the game versus Central Africa in southern in Huye, even their country, there was a room for at least a point or two. 2 wins or 1 or 2 wins. Maybe the thing is not being ousted. The thing is the manner, the way. You are asking the question to know, did we deserve to get better than what we got?
Yeah.
Yes, the answer is yes. We could have done better than that. Yeah. And I don't think that the discussion or the debate would be centered on the poor performance, but maybe something minor that should have been an extra to our performance and maybe get better result. And I think if people don't want us, everyone who loves football, who wants to see better result than these, if people don't want a debate or discussions going on this, I don't think they really want or like football or want to see the country performing well.
Talking about small things that need to be done for our team to improve their performance, I have a couple of points, information that I gathered while I was preparing for this show. I have reliable information that Amavubi coach Vincent Mashami is yet to meet his bosses after the team returned from Ivory Coast to give a report of the performance. I also am aware that Solomon Nisarike, the defender who plays from Belgium, was forced to stay in Rwanda when the team left for Abidjan, and then he traveled the next day because apparently that the Minister of Sports had not booked his ticket. Those are small details. I also have
but important.
Very important. I also have reliable information that the national team spent about 6 hours in Ethiopia waiting for the connecting flight without a single refreshment. Well, I also am aware that the team was forced to hold a residential training at Hilltop Hotel against the wish of the coach that it should be taken to La Paris Nyamata. Did you get to hear about all those that I've just talked about?
You're saying these are small things, but there are no small things in football.
Yeah.
The small things are the ones like the last minute, 2 minutes, you lose a game. That comes back to the small things. You've talked about many issues. I mean, maybe when we traveled, I don't want to go into this, but it could be much more better if the manager of Ferwafa or the one we traveled with, he could explain much more better. Maybe the head coach, Mashami, could also explain much more better. Why? Because I didn't know about that discussion they had. But back to the point, like the small things in football, they're the ones.
Small details.
They determine.
Yeah, they determine the results. Because I remember when I used to play, there's a coach who could tell you, you're late. If you're late, it's like that last minute, like we need a goal.
Yeah.
We lose the game because you're late. The small things.
Yeah.
I mean, like in Europe, it's really difficult. The small things, they can't allow you to do that.
Sure. Let me also ask, what is the extent of witchcraft in our football? I've heard this happening. Have you heard about it? Recently, I had, allegations that Andrew Butela was bewitched. He was supposed to travel with the national team, and he fell sick unexpectedly. And people are saying that he was bewitched. Andrew, what is the truth of that matter?
Well, there's this lie that people buy into, thinking that football and faith are different. But it's not a lie. No, it's a lie. Football and faith, they go hand in hand. Because everything is about faith. The fact that we're here, it's because we have faith that we have.
That we are supposed to be
that
here.
we're supposed to be here. So, it's a little bit sensitive, but I have to talk about it because it affects even the mental standpoint to the extent of losing a match, and it affects the entire football. And to be honest, it is one of the biggest problems in Rwandan football.
Witchcraft.
Yeah. Okay, let me bring it this way. Before coming here, there's two young boys who came to visit me. And while we were talking, these are young boys of like 15, 14 years.
You have 3 minutes.
And
you
one,
2 minutes.
Yeah. And one is from Aspol. He's a player. They're all players. But we spent 14 minutes. This young boy was telling me and talking about he's more educated in witchcraft than he's educated in football. Understand? Than he's educated. So
was he telling you to go look for?
He was talking about what happens in his team, such kind of, witchcraft. I won't go deep in that, but that was a pity to see a young boy more educated in witchcraft than he's educated
in football.
He's definitely affected mentally. You understand? And not only that, but even in our teams, to be honest, in our teams, you find a player, instead of competing, but if he sees that you are like 4 players
on the same position,
he's more afraid of competition.
And then they resort to witchcraft.
The result will be like, I'll find something, I won't say that they bewitched me, that incident, because I was sick. And
they poisoned you?
No, I was just sick. I was just sick. But these are the things that affect the mental standpoint of a player. Because if you
do you think that has affected, that kind of faith has affected the performance of a national team?
Of course, because where your faith is where your belief is. Understand? Where your faith is where you believe. If you believe that someone behind the back will push me towards my goal, you understand? That's what you believe. And that's what you will achieve. I'm a believer. I believe in God Almighty, because I wouldn't play football because you cannot just come and say, I'm going to play football. should be having the talent. So the one who gave me the talent is the one who is able to make me succeed and prevail. But if somebody comes in and just say that because of this, because of that, because of, then you will be pushed.
Sure. Thank you, Southman.
Yeah.
To what extent has that kind of belief affected our football?
This is I hate talking about this, but it's real. This happens in Africa.
Yeah.
Some people believe there's someone over there, maybe in a village, is going to help you score a goal in Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah.
And he believes that. Instead of putting in the hard work, train good, prepare yourself, but someone believes someone in a village is going to give me the goal.
Supernatural powers.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
It's typical African football.
And it's what has actually affected our performance, I guess, because we've not won the World Cup.
That one I don't know, but that's my opinion.
Sure. Savit, these are concluding remarks. I will not ask you because of what you think about it. But what do we need to do? If you talk to the ex-players, those who featured in 2004 AFCON, what do they tell you? You have 20 seconds to tell us what needs to be done to improve the performance of our national team.
What I would say, you normally try to call some of the ex-players.
Yes.
They're
frustrated.
Yeah, they're frustrated.
I talked to some of them. They're very frustrated.
Nobody wants to pick So why? I think there's a problem.
Should we bring them to join the technical team at Ferrofa? Should we probably advocate for that?
Let me have a point maybe to talk about these ex-players. If you see other countries, because ex-players, they are the core
of the national team, of their football.
They are the core of any nation.
Yes. In terms of
soccer, football.
Yes.
Because you need this experience. You need it. Because they are like the dictionary of football. Man. Yeah. All the technique, all the inspiring stories. You need them. Because if you see, I give an example, Croatia, where Uganda, even the General Assembly, there's an ex-player. Because you need to hear them.
Yeah.
Because they've been there, they know.
Quick one. Your final remarks.
My final remarks is, I think we are, of course, we have FERWAFA as the governing body of our football, but when it comes to the national team, and I think that's something very important. People outside there, the general public, we need to understand exactly who's to be held accountable. Yeah. Let's maybe you have given a very serious
10
example.
seconds.
The case of Salomon Idisarike. People need to know who buys ticket for national team players. Is it FERWAFA? Is it the Minister of Sport? How does it happen? We need to know who's in charge of what, and if something happens, who's to be held accountable. And I think we all need to be behind our national team. But if something goes wrong, someone has to respond. It's not about, we have to share success, but as well as failure. When things go wrong, we do not see people rushing and say, listen, this is, it happened really the way we did not expect. Listen, I think it's right time to get someone else to run things. And this is very serious, and I'm very worried from what Jimmy has said. Of course, I've tried so many times to get in touch and talk to our legend people who've been part of the 24 campaign, but they do not want to talk about football. This is very worrying, and yet we should build our football around those people.
All right, let's end it there. I believe Andrew agrees with us in terms of preparing ahead of time for us to perform better. And that brings us to the end of this discussion. Unfortunately, we have to end it here. There are many more questions to answer. There are many more questions to be asked. but we can keep the conversation going. It doesn't stop here. It also goes on Twitter, as we saw, and also on other media platforms. Remember, the hashtag is In Focus. Thank you so much for following this In Focus. And let's hope that this discussion will inform policy and change results of the national team Amavubi. We want to see the Wasps sting again. Have a good night. I'm Ethan Tashovia.